Now, y'all know we got to spread the word about this. And y'all know I had to do a video on this because I tell y'all often how tired I am of being watched when I am in self checkout. Michelle Mack here had a nationwide theft organization where she had a whole crew of people stealing out of stores. And she would pay for their airfare and everything. And they would then ship the stuff back to her mansion in Southern California, in San Diego County. They would ship the stuff back to her and her husband, and they would turn around and sell this stuff on Amazon. Y'all, she got away with this. She's been doing this for a decade. How in the world did she get away with it for a decade? Because of her privilege. And she knew it. She knew darn well that they would never suspect her and women and men who look like her to do that because they're too busy watching us in the store. And the other thing that made me upset about this is that the news is not talking about it enough. And two, a lot of the news stations are not showing her face and they're not saying her name. And that is on purpose. This is why we need to spread the word about this, y'all.
Now I will never be your hater, I'm your biggest fan. I hope it falls into place just how you planned it. Life could put you in a pickle, just make sure it's kosher. Lean on me like Bill Withers until you smell the roses. What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving, man. Subscriber died trying. You see the thumbnail. More importantly, you saw the clip. We got to talk about theft in America. And a lot of times we get blamed for a lot of theft. But, a lot of times, just to bring a little balance to it, this stuff gets overlooked consistently. And what I mean is she the first one that did something like this? No. She was stealing from, where was she stealing from? Um, I'm guessing plenty of Walmart stores, Target, whatever. But I've seen this in Texas, I think Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, like Chicago. I've seen this, and there's been stories about it, but they keep these stories on the low, where they have these, pretty much white people with these theft rings. And sometimes, and like this lady, she's flying people out. I remember one that was driving, from state to state, just robbing Home Depots. And the issue is that she's right. Like when people think, oh, they're not gonna steal. That's how they get robbed. They spend a lot of time watching us and, don't watch their own people. And to be able to get away with this for 10 years and have quote unquote $8 million in cosmetics and designer clothes. A lot of times we think about the smash and grabs, people, um, even in California when they had the smash and grabs and you can steal up to $900 worth. Y'all think, just black people stealing, but y'all don't think, maybe the people that were stealing was giving it to a person like her. It never crosses your mind. But that's normally what happens. Uh, a lot of the fraud goes on, from Enron to Bernie Madoff to um, the housing bubble, um, the car industry getting bailed out, the banks getting bailed out, comes from this type of crime of, let's just say, trust. You look like a person, because you're white or not black, I feel like I can trust you and you won't do any of this stuff. And it's like, man, I'm trying to figure out how y'all don't know that white people steal. I never understood that. Like, what movie was that? All About the Benjamins when Mike Epps was in the corner store, 15, 30, 35, 37. He was over there just, being a pest while the old white ladies were stealing because the guy knew he was a thief, but the old white ladies are unsuspected. They would never do such a thing. And I'm like, wow. And I've told this story before. I would go to the mall from time to time, and I would park like in a Burlington coat factory, and I get stuff from out of there. And I remember I was walking out, and the security guy, he was like, "Yo, I got to check. I'll make sure you're not stealing." And we didn't have no beef or nothing like that. But I wound up telling him, I said, "Listen, man, if I wanted to steal, I would have white people come in and steal while you watching me." And he checked my stuff or whatever, but he kind of looked like what the like he never thought about that. But we were cool. Like I would go in there from time to time, say what's up. He's a cool dude. But it's like that was the first time he heard that, I guess, from a person saying it in that manner. But it's like, oh, that's what goes on. And I used to say, a lot of times you go to the grocery stores, you go to, the mall, the WalMarts, the Targets, the J.C. Penney's, all to Sephora. You'll see them stealing a lot, especially in the suburbs, because it's just they're not paying attention, and to the point where even security who's watching in the back, they're not paying attention to them because, oh, they're white. I'm not gonna watch them. And it's like, okay, get got. Um, just like when you have people who come there and they beg, and then usually, I would say the people that beg were normally like Hispanic or Middle Eastern. They're big. Could you help me? I have this, I have this, I need help. And those are the people who would ask you to beg if you give them money or buy them something. Because if they don't ask for money, they'll ask, could you just buy this? They're the type of people that you'll buy, you give it to them, and then they'll go and return it and get the money, right? To the point I remember seeing that in a recent video about a lady at Walmart, like, I'm tired of you scamming my customers. And the issue is stuff like this goes on consistently and it's overlooked. And it's all because, Karen don't steal, right? So it's like, since Karen don't steal, you know, she can't do that. And the same thing with the guys. Like, y'all ever wonder how all of these guys, you know, it's kind of like the Fast and the Furious. Remember how Vin Diesel was walking around robbing people for money to pay for the cars? What do you think some of these people are doing who out here racing, car racing? Some of them are just scammers. They scam to get the money to soup up their car, and then they race their car for money, and that's how they trying to come up. But the issue becomes, who's going to pay attention? Are you going to pay attention, or are they going to pay attention? Because a lot of times that assumption of, oh, they're not going to do anything. This goes from people going to the doctor's office, going to the bank. Um, sometimes if you got a woman who's a quote unquote Karen, if she flips out and have an attitude and starts a scene, you just gonna give her stuff. You know, it's like, wow, guys with the, oh, I wouldn't do that. You could trust me. And it's like, wow, man, y'all don't get it. And stuff like this happens over and over and over and over again because people steal like this. And I've seen um, people in their homes, in their garages, they got a bunch of shit. And you're like, what the fuck is this? Why do you have all of this shit? And it never dawns on you, they're selling stuff online, but you're thinking to yourself, this house is full of shit. Like, do you even live here? And it's because, you know, they got people stealing. They're stealing, they got other people stealing, and they all fit the profile of somebody you wouldn't ask, what are you doing to? Because you're gonna assume, they'll walk out with something, I didn't know, I didn't pay for that. No, no. Or you go, oh, they had to pay for that. They probably was at the thing or the checkout. Because with these self checkouts, well, you're not watching white people walk off with stuff. You're just not. But, you know, that's my 2 cents on it. You tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace. You ever been to the
Something
top
ain't
of the
right.
universe? I'm gonna take you there.